Hello everyone, welcome back to my second channel, welcome back to Jack in the Books. I am going to try and film this video in one take. I'm going to try and do very minimal editing. I think I'm going to put a screen recording on the screen at one point, but I'm going to try and just film this as one continuous thing. Firstly because it makes my life easier, and secondly because then I feel like it's just you and I hanging out, you know? It's just like we're all just having a chat. It's like a big FaceTime. So anyway, I was just scrolling through YouTube and one of my favorite YouTube channels is called Drinking by My Shelf, which first and foremost is one of the best YouTube channel titles ever. And secondly, is a really great channel and I'd highly recommend watching Emma's videos. I'm gonna leave her link down below. The channel is called Drinking by My Shelf and she made this great video a couple days ago. It's called, let me see, my 2022 World Cup of Books. So basically what she did was she took her favorite books of the year and pitted them against each other to eventually come up with her favorite book of the year. Now, I have a video that I'm gonna make on my main channel of like my favorite books that I read this year, so I didn't want to spoil that. And so I thought I would do this video and I would take on this challenge inspired by Emma at Drinking by My Shelf. Full credits to her, by the way. Go and watch her video first because it's great. But I thought inspired by that video, I would make my own version of it using my books that I've rated 3.75 and 4 stars this year. So like good books, but not my favorites necessarily. And I think that might mean that it's harder to choose between them. We'll see. Basically, the reason I chose those ones is because there are 32 teams in the World Cup and I've rated 32 books this year, either 3.75 or 4 stars out of 5. So that's the idea. Second of all, after all of that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that personally for me, I am not watching this year's Men's World Cup. I think that everyone is fully entitled to make their own decision about whether you want to watch it this year. I think that football governing bodies and sports governing bodies have a moral obligation to take into consideration human rights violations and the safety of the countries, of people and minority groups in the countries that they are choosing as host nations for major world tournaments. Obviously, Qatar has some issues with their treatment of women, of LGBTQ+ individuals and migrant workers. This video is not an endorsement of the World Cup at all. In fact, it's kind of like a fun alternative. This is like the book version for me. So anyway, I'm gonna go through all of the books that I've ranked 3.75 and 4 stars this year. I'm gonna put my phone on silent because cell phone's on silent, the show is about to begin. Because that was kind of distracting, I'm not gonna lie. So, starting off with books I've ranked 3.75 stars. We have Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I've just finished reading her most recent book, which is Our Missing Hearts. Next we have After Parties, which is a Cambodian-American selection of short stories. And I thought they were like, some were great, some were not great. So it was like a real mix. Another collection of short stories, Shoko's Smile. God, I read these ages ago. In a Sentimental Mood is Croatian poetry. That's fun. I bought that because I went to Croatia and I missed my flight home because I had this conference I was doing online and I got the dates wrong and it turned out my flight was at the exact same time as the conference was, and so I had to change my flight to a couple days later. So then I was like in Croatia and I'd finished all the books that I brought with me originally, and so I went to the bookstore and bought a bunch of Croatian books and it was really fun. Okay, so I also have Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead, Women's Prize and Booker Prize nominee. Black Swans by Eve Babbitt, it's a collection of short stories. Galatea, I think that's how you say it, by Madeline Miller. That is like Greek mythology retelling, it's her short story. Next we have You made a fool of death with your beauty. Firstly, Florence and the Machine lyric as your book title. You know I'm going to buy it. You literally know I'm going to buy that. So I did. And it was 3.75 out of 5. Next we have Earthlings, which was freaking crazy. Kind of about like cannibalism, incest. Nothing was off limits. Then we have Acts of Desperation, plus Carrie Soto is back. New Taylor Jenkins Reid. And rounding off the 3.75 star books is Less by Andrew Sean Greer. You know what's going to be interesting is when the 3.75 star books go up against the 4-star books, I might actually realise that I preferred some of the 3.75 books because a lot of these are great. So we'll see. Okay, now onto 4-star books. I have Ariadne, another Greek mythological retelling, Parable of the Sower, which I read with Lena Norms as part of her book club. It was so interesting. We had a really fun discussion about it, which is over on her channel, if you want to go check that out. Then we have Vladimir, which is like a campus romance, but so messed up. Circe, it's definitely, campus romance is such an understatement of what that book is, because it's actually all about like the moral dilemmas of power and abuses of power, stuff like that. Hard to get into when I'm distractedly writing down book titles. Marabou Stalk Nightmares, I read as part of a blind date with a book when I was in Paris. It's by Irvine Welsh, who also wrote Train Spotting. Then we have Heartstopper Volume 1. Oh, I think I'm gonna have all the Heartstoppers in here, maybe. We'll see. If I Don't Have You by Sarita Domingo. I don't really remember what happens in that book. Oh, I think she's like a journalist interviewing a famous guy and then they fall in love or something. Clearly a forgettable plot. We'll take that into consideration. Then we have Idol by Louise O'Neill, which is kind of written about this like problematic influencer, disoriental, really interesting book. The whole picture is about, it's non-fiction, and it's about the colonial history of the art in our museums and galleries. And fascinating. Like if you love going to galleries and stuff, it's a must read. Then we have Bless the Daughter, Raised by the Voice in Her Head, my most recent read. It's a poetry collection by Walton Shire. In fact, you would have seen me buy this book in my most recent video, before this one. Then we have Heartstopper Volume 2. Now this is going to be interesting, pitting Heartstopper books against each other. The Death of Vivek Oji. Now this is where it gets funny because you get so many books that are so different going head to head, and I ranked them all the same. Because next we have Twelfth Night by Shakespeare. This is unhinged. I love it. Okay, Twelfth Night. There probably was a more efficient way of doing this than me like sitting here writing them all down, but I just thought it would be fun to just like hang out. Next we have Crying in H Mart, which is a memoir about the death of Michelle's mother. A final revival of Opal and Nev. Let's just write Opal and Nev, which is kind of like, they're this like old school rock and roll duo, and they get involved in a race riot. Honey and Spice next. I read that for the TikTok book club, which I'm a host of. People We Meet on Vacation is here by Emily Henry. Every time I think about this book, I feel less and less like it was a 4-star book, but that's fine, it's here. That's what I ranked at the time. And then we have Boy Parts by Eliza Clark, which is like all about female rage. And it's crazy, it's wild. How did they describe it on here? Dark, tense. Yeah, I describe it as those things too. And then we have, to end with, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Why did I give that 4 stars? I think I was like really thinking about how she's a good storyteller. Did I enjoy it? But I think Colleen Hoover is it's well written, despite being so cringeworthy. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is add all of these in to a like bracket thing. You know how, so each book will then like face off, and it will randomly choose which book faces which book. Woo, the tension is so high, the stakes are so high. I'm sure you're on the edge of your seat. So everything I never told you. And then I will screen record once this is done, and we'll put each book head to head. So how are you guys doing? What's going on? How's work? How are the kids? I have this pasta that I bought last night. I went to a restaurant called Sauce, and it's so good. Obviously they specialize in sauce. So they have these pastas with the most phenomenal sauces, but it was like way too much for me. I'm the absolute worst for like every restaurant I go to. Can I have a takeaway box? Every time. Classiest establishment ever. I've got no shame. I will be taking that home in a box because I want to continue eating it. Like I want to enjoy this further. Am I gonna let you take it back to the kitchen and scrape it into the bin? No. I'm gonna eat that at a later point. So my friends are like, here we go, Jack's gonna get a box. And I'm like, damn right, Jack's gonna get a box and a bag, and I'm gonna take it away. I should bring my own like Tupperware with me or something. That would be, maybe that's a bit too much. Do you know one word that always stumps me is the word desperation? I spell it wrong every time. It's one of, you know how everyone has those words that you just can't spell? Desperation. Oh, I did spell it right. Well, I could have just not said that. Save myself my pride. I always put like desperation, not desperation, you know? Everybody makes mistakes, everybody has those days. Ariadne, I'm on to 12, by the way, in case you were interested. Why did I decide to do this all in one take? It's a good question. It's a really good question. I thought it'd be fun. Vladimir, Cersei. This is gonna be hard, you know. I have this freaking fly in my apartment that I cannot get rid of. You wanna hear a fun story? So the other night I had like I don't wanna say house party, like I had friends over for drinks. And half my friends had tickets to this like rave thing where the theme was kind of like BDSM inspired. Well, there goes the monetization of this video. But anyway, and then the rest of the people who came were going to like different parties or did not have tickets to that specific event. So everyone who was in my flat was dressed completely differently. Like some people were dressed very casually, other people were dressed for a BDSM themed party. So they were dressed like dominatrixes. And so it was just like a fun little mix of outfits. And I I found a neon pink fly swatter in my cupboard, and this one fly has been buzzing around, and I was like determined to get it, but I left it on the side before people arrived. And anyways, it kind of went with the theme because they were dressed with BDSM. I had a swatter. It looked like you could spank someone with it. Weirdly, it was on theme. So there you go. How did I get onto that? I don't know. Heartstopper Volume 2. I'm on to 23, but this does not look like there's enough left to fill this. So I'm a bit confused. Did I miss some? The Death of Vivek OG. I'm so intrigued which book is going to win this. Maybe I should make a prediction. I really don't know. I really don't know. At a glance, maybe Cersei. Well, the whole picture is great. Maybe Bless the Daughter raised by the voice in her head. Maybe Crying in H Mart, maybe Opal and Nev, and maybe Boy Parts. Those are like my predictions of what I think will win this. But we'll see. We will see. Honey and Spice. Guys, I'm one short. Which one have I not written down? When I tell you, I cannot do a single thing right. Fuck. Which one have I missed? Okay, I have 11 3.75 stars, and I know there were 12. So which one have I not written down? 11, 12. Okay, I did not write down Earthlings. Okay. Could you see my mind whizzing there? Okay, we've been filming for way too long. Let's go. Start now. Let's do this. So firstly, round one, we have Everything I Never Told You versus Earthlings. This is actually pretty easy. I think it's Earthlings. So now that should mean that Earthlings, yes, okay, goes through to the next round. Everything is starting to work, everything is falling into place. Phew. Okay, next we have Heartstopper Volume 1 or Marabou Stalk Nightmares. I'm going to go with Heartstopper Volume 1 because I love it. It's gorgeous. Then we have Acts of Desperation versus The Death of Vivek Oji. Actually, this is really straightforward. It's The Death of Vivek Oji every day of the week. 12th Night, or You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. How do you even pit Shakespeare against a book that was released in 2022? Okay, I personally enjoyed this book more. So it's going through, and that solves my issue of having to compare Shakespeare to anything else. So there you go. Great Circle versus Honey and Spice. It is going to be Great Circle, for sure. Which is funny, because I actually ranked Great Circle 3.75 stars, and Honey and Spice 4. Damn. Well, this is proving that I know frickin' nothing. But then I also would say that I was judging them from a genre perspective. Like, Great Circle is literary fiction, whereas Honey and Spice is more like a YA kind of book. And so, given the context, I think I rated them within the genre and within what they were supposed to be aiming for. It's all about context, right? This is so hard. The whole picture versus Ariadne. Oh my God. The whole picture is great, but I think it had some holes. Ariadne also, there were certain things that I wished it did better, but Ariadne is a really great book. So it is actually going to be Ariadne. Yeah, okay. That's from a writing perspective. Okay, Parable of the Sower or Disoriental. I am going to do Parable of the Sower. Yeah. People We Meet on Vacation or in a sentimental mood. Ooh, this is really tough. It's like comparing poetry to a novel. But I think I'm going to give it to In a Sentimental Mood. Yeah, it was cool poetry. Oh no, Shoko's Smile or Boy Parts. It's going to be Boy Parts. Submit. Idol or Vladimir. It is going to be Vladimir. Less or Bless the Daughter Raised by the Voice in Her Head. It's going to be Bless the Daughter. Opal and Nev or Black Swans. Oh, okay, I love both of these, but I've got to give it to the final revival of Opal and Nev. If you loved Daisy Jones and the Six, you will love this book too. Next we have Galatea or Crying in H Mart. It's going to be Crying in H Mart. It's a really beautiful memoir. Heartstopper Volume 2 or Carrie Soto is back. Oh no! Who on earth do we choose here? I actually think I'm going to go with Carrie Soto. Yeah, I am. Then we have Circe, and I put If I Have You, but it's meant to say If I Don't Have You. It's actually the exact opposite of what I've put by accident, but it's Circe anyway, so we don't need to worry. And then finally, It Ends With Us or After Parties. I don't know. It Ends With Us or After Parties. From a storytelling perspective, it is going to be It Ends With Us. I'm as surprised as you are. Okay, now we're on to round 2. So next we have Earthlings versus Heartstopper, which is the funniest sentence I will ever say because these books could not be more different if you tried. Earthlings is like the most messed up, crazy book, whereas Heartstopper is so wholesome. And I think it says a lot about me that I'm gonna go with Earthlings. Sorry. Next we have The Death of Vivek Oji, or You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. Are these written by the same person? Oh my god. It's the same author. Shit. So which one did I prefer? I think I preferred The Death of Vivek Oji. Yeah, I think I did. Next we have Great Circle and Ariadne. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to myself? Oh my god. It's Ariadne. It is. Great Circle was good, but it had some real flaws, I thought. So, Parable of the Sower or In a Sentimental Mood. I'm gonna go with Parable of the Sower. Boy Parts or Vladimir. Okay, again, these are both books kind of about female rage and female revenge on men too. So these are good ones to compare actually. I am going to go with Boy Parts because I think the narration and the first person POV is cracking. Bless the Daughter Raised by the Voice in Her Head or Opal and Nev. It's gonna be Bless the Daughter. It's a great poetry collection. I also just read it, which might be clouding my judgment slightly. Crying in H Mart or Carrie Soto is Back. It is gonna go to Crying in H Mart, for sure. I think Carrie Soto is Back was just missing like one little extra thing for me. And then Cersei versus It Ends With Us is so easy. Cersei, 100,000,000%. Okay, now round 3. Here we go. Earthlings versus The Death of Vivek Oji is gonna go to The Death of Vivek Oji, I think. Ariadne versus The Parable of the Sower is going to go to Ariadne. Boy Parts versus Bless the Daughter is gonna go to Boy Parts. And Crying in H Mart versus Cersei is going to go to Cersei, for me, personally. This is so interesting, like comparing these books. Okay, this is the 4th round now. The Death of Vivek Oji versus Ariadne. I think I'm gonna give it to Ariadne. And you know what I'm seeing is that we're approaching an all Greek mythology final because it's Ariadne versus Cersei. Which is so funny. These are like feminist retellings of Greek mythology, and somehow through this completely random process, those are the 2 books that have won overall. Because I love Greek mythology, so clearly it wins every time for me. Now the choice is Ariadne or Cersei. Fuck! Jennifer Saint or Madeline Miller is like Clash of the Titans. But which did I prefer? I loved, like, the writing in both is exquisite. Madeline Miller, probably, she just writes in such a sublime way, so I feel like she would win in terms of the writing. But the story I would give to Ariadne. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I can choose. Damn it, wow. It's gonna go to Ariadne. It is, it's gonna go to Ariadne. There we go. Ariadne is my final winner out of all of these books. Wow. That was actually really fun. I would highly recommend doing this if you fancy it. Thanks so much to Emma at Drinking by My Shelf for coming up with this concept. Wow. I'm actually like, I'm shook. It's really not something to get shook about, but I am. Anyways, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that this felt kind of just like hanging out. And I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.